Shalom, YouTube. This video is going to be about the Philistines, and essentially, what's going on today is a continuation of the war since the days of Moses. So, the Arabic word for Palestine is Palestine. There were 5 cities of the Philistines in the days of King David. Essentially, I'll read you that part right now. So, we're going to start with Judges chapter 3. Now these are the nations which Yahweh left to test Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan. Only that the generations of the children of Israel might know, to teach them war, at the least such as before knew nothing thereof, namely 5 lords of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites and the Sidonians, which is Lebanon, and the Hivites that dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal Hermon unto the entering in at Hamath. So these 5 lords of the Philistines: Gaza, Ashdod, Ekron, Ashkelon, and Gath. Gath is where the giant Goliath came from. Although I think he was from a different race, but he was living among the people of Gath. Okay, so essentially Palestine, what you know of as Palestine, is essentially these 5 cities on the coast of Israel near Egypt. And the Philistines are ethnically Egyptian. They are Caphtorims and Casluhims and Naphtalims, I think the name was. And they come from Mitzrayim, which is the Hebrew word for Egypt. So they colonized the territory of Canaan, what we know of as Israel today. They colonized this territory thousands of years ago. Moses talked about it in Deuteronomy chapter 2. Okay, so what does this matter? This matters because God told the Hebrews numerous times in the Torah, do not make a peace treaty with them. Do not enter a covenant with them. They are so unbelievably wicked that if you leave any of them alive, if you do not completely purge them from the land, whether you cast them into another country or whether you blot them out by the sword, but if you will not do this, they will be snares and they will corrupt your seed and they will cause my wrath to rise against you. That's what he said. So, we're going to get back to chapter 2 now of the book of Judges. And an angel of Yahweh came up from Gilgal to Bochim and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt. So this angel of the Lord, God says that there is one angel that his name is in and that we must obey this angel. And if we don't obey this angel, that it will go very badly for us, because basically obey the voice of this angel, because my name is in him. I believe this was in Exodus 33 or so. But the point being is that this angel is not just an angel. Okay, this is God. It's the Son of God. This angel of the Lord is Yahweh Sabaoth, the Yahweh of the army of God, the chief of the hosts of God's army. So this angel speaks with the authority of God. The angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Bochim and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt and have brought you into the land which I swear unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. And you shall make no covenant with the inhabitants of this land. You shall throw down their altars, but you have not obeyed my voice. Why have you done this? Wherefore I have also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they will be as thorns in your sides, and their gods will be a snare unto you. And it came to pass when the angel of the Lord spake these words unto all the children of Israel, that they all lifted up their voices and wept. And they called the name of that place Bochim, and they sacrificed there unto the Lord. So, the angel of the Lord speaks with the authority of God and says, you were not supposed to enter into a covenant with them. Why have you disobeyed my voice? Now I'm not going to drive them out before you. And this is where the Palestinians are from. Palestine. They're Egyptians. They are ethnically Egyptians. I have it written down here. Casluhim kam ambo Casluchet, and Pathrusim from Pathros, Egypt, and Naphtulim from Burma, Egypt. And these are the people who colonized Gaza and the other 4 cities, the Palestinians, the PLST, which I believe it's pronounced either Palashet or Falashet in Hebrew. Okay, so there are many verses about how they were not supposed to enter into a covenant with these people. I'm going to start with Joshua. Let's go with chronological order. We'll start with Exodus 23. Exodus 23, 32 through 33. 23. Okay. Oh, this is the one about the angel, too. Okay. Verse 20. So 23, verse 20. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if you will indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto your enemies and an adversary unto your adversaries. For my angel shall go before you and bring you into the land of the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will yikaret them. I will cut them off. You shall not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but you shall utterly overthrow them and quite break down their images. And you shall serve Yahweh your God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of you. And there shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in your land. The number of your days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before you, and I will destroy all the people to whom you shall come, and I will make all your enemies turn their backs unto you. And I will send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before you. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest land become desolate and the beasts of the field multiply against you. By little and little I will drive them out from before you until you are increased and inherit the land. And I will set the bounds of your Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines. Okay, this is like Gaza, Palestine. So when you think of Palestine in the Bible, because it is referred to in the King James Bible a few times, it's referring to the Philistines' land, the 5 cities of the Philistines. As for the West Bank, that was never part of the Philistines' territory. Okay. Jordan, I'm sorry, I need to drink some water. All right. Jordan is encroaching on Israeli territory from the east, but the land of Gaza, like that part of Palestine, yeah, that actually does have a historical claim. But the part towards the east, that was never Palestine. Okay? They never controlled Jerusalem in the times of the Bible. The Jebusites controlled it, which seems to be another name for the Hittites, or a very similar people to the Hittites. But as for Palestine, yeah, that's not Jerusalem. That's sorry, I don't know if you heard that. That's to the west. So let's get back to it. I will set your bounds from the Red Sea, even unto the sea of the Philistines, from the desert unto the river. From the desert to the river, Israel is forever. All right. From the desert unto the river, for I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto you. Well, Allah is a strange God. It is definitely not the God of the Bible, because they are very angry that the Jews even live in that land. And in the Torah, God commanded them to go into the land. And when they refused to fight to take the land because they were afraid, God saw this as a sin and he punished them for it. So if the Muslims are angry at the Jews for being in the land of their ancestors, then their God is not the same as our God. Okay, let's get to Exodus 34, verse 12. 34, verse 12. Observe that you do that which so 34, verse 12, Exodus. Observe you that which I command you this day. Behold, I drive out from before you the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Hittite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite. Take heed to yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you go, lest it be for a snare in the midst of you. But you shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. For you shall worship no other God, for Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. See, Israel keeps trying to make peace deals with the Palestinians. They shouldn't be trying this at all. Israel needs to be a Torah theocracy waiting for the Messiah, who we know to be Jesus, but they're kind of struggling with that. But they should at least be a Torah theocracy. They keep trying to make a peace deal with the Palestinians. Like, well, what if we give them Gaza? What if in 2005 we just pull all our people out of Gaza? What would be the worst that would happen if we gave Gaza to the Palestinians? Well, we know what happened. It doesn't work. These people are fighting an ancient war that is 3,500 years old, to the days of Moses. That's what it is. The Palestinians of Gaza, the Philistines, the Egyptian Caphtarian people, they're fighting this war because Israel refuses to obey the commandments of God. Otherwise, this war would have ended in the days of Moses. So, but you shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. You shall worship no other God, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and then go whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call you, and you eat of his sacrifice. Okay, so sacrificing to their gods. Oh, you mean like Allah, like halal slaughter, where you take a goat or a camel, which is completely unclean in the Torah, and you point the animal's head towards the Kaaba, and you say Arabic chants to Allah, and you cut its throat and you eat it. See, that's when you sacrifice an animal to Allah, when you say Allahu Akbar and Bismillah and all these other Arabic words about Allah, that's not the God of the Bible. Nobody ever called Yahweh Allah. Elaha means my God. Elohim means, God in general, although it does seem to be a plural word. But it's a very different God, okay? Because his name is Yahweh. So even if you just say Elohim, it's like, you shall have no other Elohim before me. Well, Allah is a strange Elohim. And when Muslims are sacrificing their animals in halal slaughter to Allah, yeah, that's a satanic ritual. Go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call you, and you eat of his sacrifice. And you take of their daughters unto your sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make your sons to go a whoring after their gods. You shall make you no molten gods. The feast of unleavened bread, which is Passover, you shall keep. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you. All right, so this is just a few more laws. But yeah, so we're not supposed to have anything, absolutely anything, with the Palestinians. What I would do is this. You make it a Torah theocracy, and you give them a chance. You spread the Torah in Arabic among the people, the law of Moses, because they're supposed to believe in the Torah. Their own religion teaches them that the Torah came from Allah. So you give them the Torah, and you tell them this came from God. This is the God of Moses. This is the law of Moses. You say Moses is your prophet. Well, this is what Moses received from God. And if you will keep it, wonderful. You can stay here. But you have to disavow Muhammad as a false prophet because he teaches against this Torah. If you will not keep it, wonderful. We're going to drive you out of this land into Egypt. We don't want anything to do with you people. You keep the Torah, or we will destroy everything related to this country. There will be no more Palestine. You keep the Torah, or we will drive you into the fucking Egypt. That's it. That's all that has to be done. And I'm sorry for cursing, but that's what it has to be. No more, oh, well, what about international law? No. Israel is a Torah theocracy waiting for the Messiah, and that's it. Israel keeps the Torah. Anyone who does not keep the Torah is going to be driven into Egypt, Jew or Gentile. Send them all to Egypt. Egypt seems to have so many ties with Hamas anyways, all these tunnels going from Egypt into Gaza, so screw it. Anybody who will not keep the Torah, send them to Egypt. That's your deportation nation. All right, continuing. So we did Exodus. Let's get to Numbers. Yeah, let's get to Numbers. Numbers 33, 50 through 55. There might be more verses on this, but these are the ones I was able to find. Numbers 33. And Yahweh spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say to them, When you are passed over Jordan unto the land of Canaan, you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and you will destroy their pictures, all their pictures, and destroy all their molten images, and quite pluck down all their high places. And you will dispossess the inhabitants of the land, and you will dwell therein, for I have given you the land to possess it. And you shall divide the land for lots by an inheritance among your families, and the more you shall give more inheritance, and the fewer you shall give fewer inheritance. Every man's inheritance shall be in one place where his lot falls, according to the tribes of your fathers you shall inherit it. Right here, verse 55. But if you will not drive out the inhabitants of this land from before you, then it will come to pass that those which you let remain of them will be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall vex you in the land where you dwell. Moreover, it will come to pass that I will do unto you what I thought to do unto them. So right there, God says you must remove them, otherwise they're going to be a problem for you in the future. And what I plan to do to them, I will do to you. Well, this is why Israel keeps getting kicked out of the Holy Land. It happens multiple times. A, because they don't keep the Torah, and B, because they have a hostile nation living among them, seducing Israel into witchcraft, because they know that the pagans know the Bible's true. Okay, the Freemasons, the powerful Muslims, the people who really know how the world works, good or bad, they know that the Bible's true. The good ones choose to follow the Bible because they're wise and they know that God is true and they want to obey God. But the wicked disobey the Bible because they think they can beat God. That's all it is. The Freemasons know the Bible's true, and instead of submitting themselves to the one true God, who is Yahweh, whose mediator between God and mankind is Jesus, his Son, who is also God, perfected on the cross, instead of submitting themselves to God, they try to fight God, knowing that they will never ever win, but being too wicked to do anything else but to be insubordinate to the will of God. All right, let's get to Deuteronomy now. Deuteronomy 7, verse 2 through 4. 7, verse 2. I'll start from the beginning of the chapter. When Yahweh your God shall bring you into the land where you go to possess it, and he has cast out many nations before you, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when Yahweh your God shall deliver them before you, you shall smite them and utterly destroy them, and you shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall you take unto your son. For they will turn away your son from following me, they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. But thus shall you do with them. You shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. For you are a holy people unto Yahweh your God. Yahweh your God has chosen you to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are on the face of the earth, the chosen people. But it came with terms and conditions, and they did a very bad job of following those terms and conditions. But many of them did accept Jesus, and God bless those ones who accepted Jesus. The ones who didn't, they basically they're a tree without water. Yahweh did not set his love upon you nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. But because Yahweh loved you and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, as Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt. So destroy everything related to their country, drive them out, do not marry them, do not let them teach you about their pagan religion. It is abomination. Then we get to Deuteronomy chapter 12, 29. Deuteronomy 12, 29. When Yahweh your God shall cut off these nations from before you, whither you go to possess them, and you succeed them and dwell in their land, take heed to yourself that you be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before you, and that you inquire not after their gods, saying, how do these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. You shall not do so unto Yahweh your God, for every abomination to Yahweh which he hates they have done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters have they burnt in the fire to their gods. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. You shall not add thereto nor diminish from it. So why is God so angry at the Canaanites? Because they're sacrificing their children to Moloch. Because they're doing homosexuality. Because they're aborting their babies. Every evil thing, everything that the Torah says is wickedness and never to engage in it, everything that normal people know instinctively not to, you don't have to be biblical to know these things are evil. You just have to not be corrupted by an evil, wicked people. But instinctively as a little kid, abortion's wrong. What? You're killing babies? I can't believe that. No. But then they start to tell you, oh, well, it's different. It's not a baby until it's born. What if the baby's poor? It's going to be like it's not having a good life. It'd be better for the baby to die. And they start feeding these lies, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's your body. You have the right to do whatever you want. It's just a clump of cells. And they're not telling you, hey, this baby feels pain, and this is a very serious sin, and it's going to anger God against you. So, yeah, God has every reason to destroy the Canaanites, and the Hebrews should have done their part and completely annihilated them. Absolutely destroy everything related to their land and drive them out into another country or slaughter them. Absolutely. I am 100% in favor of it. We get to Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 16. At this point, what has to be done is Israel must be a Torah theocracy, and they must be awaiting the Messiah. Now, we know the Messiah is Jesus, and anyone who seriously keeps the Torah will eventually realize it's Jesus. The Torah is the foundation, and then the prophets add more context. And everything the prophets say lines up perfectly with the Gospels. But if you're not going to keep the Torah, actually keep it, then you're never going to believe Jesus. It's like Jesus said, if you believed Moses, you would believe me, because Moses wrote about me. 20, verse 16. All right, actually, let me go back. 20, verse. So it's talking about how to commit war against the Canaanites. Actually, no, this is talking about how to make war with. Okay, so I'll just do it real quick. If they make the answer of peace and open unto you, that it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto you, and they shall serve you. And if they will make no peace with you, but will make war against you, you shall besiege it. And when Yahweh your God has delivered it into your hands, you shall smite every male therein with the sword, but the women and the little ones and the cattle and all that is in the city, even all the spoil, you shall take unto yourself. And they shall be the spoil, and you shall eat the spoil of your enemies, which Yahweh your God has given you. This is what you shall do to all the cities which are very far off from you, which are not the cities of these nations, talking about the Canaanites, but of the cities of these people which Yahweh your God does give you for an inheritance. You shall save alive nothing that breathes, but you shall utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, as Yahweh your God has commanded you, because they're sacrificing their children to Moloch, because they're cross-dressing, because they're raping children. All the Illuminati bullshit. And I know I shouldn't be cursing, but it angers me. Everything that the Illuminati is doing, these people have been doing for thousands of years, since the land of Canaan. That they do not teach you to go after their abominations, which they have done unto their gods, so should you sin against Yahweh your God. And when you shall besiege a city a long time, in making war against it, to take it, you shall not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for you may eat of them. And you shall not cut them down, for the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in the siege. So, yeah. And then I think there was one more in Deuteronomy. Or maybe that was the last one. Yeah, no, Deuteronomy 20. Okay, that was the last one. So we'll get to Joshua now. Joshua chapter 23. So remember, Joshua was a contemporary of Moses. Joshua is very faithful to God. And actually, Joshua's name is the same name Jesus has, Yehoshua. Yahoshua. Yah is salvation. So we get to Joshua chapter 23, verse 12 through 13. 23. Okay. I'll start with the beginning of the chapter because it's a very good chapter and it's not very long. Joshua chapter 23, verse 1. And it came to pass a long time after that Yahweh had given rest unto Israel from all their enemies round about, that Joshua grew old and stricken in age. And Joshua called for all Israel and for their elders and for their heads and for their judges and for their officers, and said unto them, I am old and stricken in age. You have seen all that Yahweh your God has done unto all these nations because of you. For Yahweh your God is he that has fought for you. Absolutely. Israel did not conquer the Canaanites by their own hand. They conquered the Canaanites by the will of God. And this only happened when they obeyed God. Because when they didn't obey God, they got their butts kicked. So yeah, I stopped cussing. Yahweh your God is he that has fought for you. Behold, I have divided unto you by lot these nations that remain, to be an inheritance for your tribes, from Jordan with all the nations that I have cut off, even unto the great sea westward. And Yahweh your God, he shall expel them from before you, and you will drive them out of your sight, and you shall possess their land as Yahweh your God has promised unto you. Be you therefore very courageous to keep and to do all that is written in this book of the law of Moses. So that's specifically the Torah, and well, it's specifically Deuteronomy, but it's all the Torah. But every time they refer to the book of the law, it seems like they're specifically referring to Deuteronomy. So that's Sefer Torah Moshe. Sefer book, Torah law, Moshe Moses. And you turn not aside to the right hand or to the left, that you come not among these nations, these that remain among you, neither make mention of the name of their gods, nor cause to swear by them, neither serve them, nor bow down yourselves unto them, but cleave, grasp onto, and hold closely unto Yahweh your God, as you have done unto this day. For Yahweh has driven out from before you great nations and strong, but as for you, no man has been able to stand before you unto this day. One man of you shall chase 1,000, for Yahweh your God, he it is that fights for you, as he has promised you. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that you love Yahweh your God, else if you do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they unto you. Know for a certainty that Yahweh your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, and they will be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off this good land which Yahweh your God has given you. And behold, this day I am going the way of all the earth, and you know in all your hearts and in all your souls that not one thing has failed of all the good things which Yahweh your God spake concerning you. All are come to pass unto you, and not one thing has failed thereof. Therefore it shall come to pass that as all the good things that are come upon you, which Yahweh your God promised you, so shall Yahweh bring upon you all evil things, until he has destroyed you from off this good land, which Yahweh your God has given to you. When you have transgressed the covenant of Yahweh your God, which he commanded you, and have gone and served other gods and bowed down yourselves to them, then shall the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you, and ye shall perish quickly from off the good land which he has given unto you. So, yeah, no more talking to the Palestinians. This is the ultimatum to the Palestinians. We're going to give you the Torah. You're going to follow the Torah. We're going to follow the Torah too, because God gave us the Torah through Moses. And that's the law of this land. Everything connected to Israel is a Torah theocracy now. And there's going to be an adjustment. You're going to keep the Torah. You're going to disavow Islam because Muhammad was an enemy of the Torah. He calls himself a prophet after the likes of Moses and Abraham and Jesus, and yet he doesn't follow the Torah. Abraham followed the laws God gave him, which were expanded upon by Moses. God gave more laws to Moses, and every single prophet since Moses kept the law of Moses. And then a false prophet called Muhammad spoke against these laws, said that was just for the Jews. Now we're following a different law. Well, he's a false prophet. And if he's going to claim to be a prophet like Moses, then he's going to be judged by the law of Moses. And the law of Moses says that a man who sleeps with his daughter-in-law shall be put to death. A man who calls himself a prophet who teaches against the law of Moses shall be put to death. Israel's a Torah theocracy now. And anyone who will not abide, that's it. I declare it. In the name of Jesus Christ, Israel is now a Torah theocracy. From the river to the sea, Israel is a Torah theocracy. And they are awaiting their king, who is Jesus Christ, and he will come and he will take the throne. But I proclaim in the name of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, Israel is now a Torah theocracy. And everything from the West Bank to Gaza and all that territory is now a Torah theocracy. And they will keep it. And anyone who will not keep it will be deported to Egypt. Jew or Gentile will be deported to Egypt. So those are the rules now. I proclaim these rules in the name of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Amen.